Most Americans don't even think about having enough food in a crisis until it's too late. Like when the hurricane's barreling down on them, or that catastrophic earthquake strikes, or a tornado rips their town a new one, or wildfires ravage their community. And by then, like I said, it's too late. They have to trust luck, or turn to dear old Uncle Sam to bail them out. And others, like you, I'm guessing, understand that depending on Uncle Sam isn't much of a plan. And so these good people, patriots, do worry about having enough food stored away for a crisis. And I know, because for a long time I was one of them, scraping by each month and barely having a few extra canned goods to show for all my efforts. So it seems pretty easy to stockpile when you're rich. But I wasn't, and I had to work hard for everything I put aside for darker times. Until one day, it all changed almost overnight. I took a trip with my church to South America, and believe me, I don't say this lightly, that trip changed my entire life. And if you'll watch this free presentation all the way through, I promise to tell you the eye-opening story of what I discovered deep in the Andes Mountains. What I've unearthed has the power to change your life as well. So you'll never have to worry about having enough food for you and your family. You'll never have to wait hours and hours in Uncle Sam's soup line. And you can take pride in knowing your family will be incredibly well fed in any crisis. Now how? What if I told you there was a superfood out there that's been lost to history for the past 482 years? It's so nutritious that it sustained the great Incan civilization through a 4-year super drought that all but wiped out their southern neighbors. This superfood is a snap to prepare, requires no refrigeration, and has a decade-long shelf life. The Incas would simply store it in pit holes and feast on it year-round. Now, while their civilization has long since perished, their lost superfood was just recently unearthed by NASA scientists. Realizing its potential to resist extreme conditions, they've started giving rations of it to our astronauts during their month-long space missions. In fact, they found the recipe to be so effective that they classified it to keep it from hard-working Americans. But because of my trip to the Andes Mountains, I made it my mission to blow the lid off what I would call a diabolical cover-up. Every American deserves to have access to this now top-secret formulation. And finally, what if I told you that you already have every single ingredient in your kitchen to make this lost superfood right now? That's right, it doesn't have to cost you a dime more than you've already spent on groceries. Now, wouldn't you want to know about it? Then please pay careful attention, because during this short and very controversial presentation, I'll reveal exactly what this lost superfood is and how you can easily and quickly provide it for your family starting today. I'll also uncover 2 more long-lasting superfoods that we've lost to history. And guess what? Not even NASA, the CIA, the FBI, or FEMA know about them. Yet. Having them in your pantry will place you miles and miles ahead of the average American while banishing any and all fears of starvation for good. You'll never ever have to worry about whether or not you'll have enough. You'll never have to wonder if you can afford to provide for your family. And what's more, you can even have more than enough to provide for your neighbors as well. Hi, my name's Claude Davis, and I'm an Old West expert with a deep passion for understanding the skills and knowledge that allowed our forefathers to build America into the great country it is today. Now, what I've told you about so far are just some of the many things we've lost to history. I'll also show you a few more remarkable ones that shouldn't have been forgotten, things that I've unraveled in the past 2 years and managed to save for you in The Lost Ways 2nd Edition. 2 other superfoods that cost almost nothing to make that'll keep you and your family well fed no matter what happens. One was praised as the Great Depression food miracle. The people that knew about it banished hunger for good, while the rest were starving and tightening their belts. Not only will you learn the exact process of making it the right way, but you'll use it to preserve meat and create one of the most finger-licking, mouth-watering, tastiest foods you'll ever eat. And the best part, it lasts up to 2 whole years without refrigeration. And the other food was also long-lasting, invented by one of the most vicious samurai in history. It was born out of war and necessity. So don't expect a gourmet meal here, but do expect this samurai superfood to be so nutrient-rich and probiotic-packed that you and your entire family won't need anything else for months on end. With these 3 superfoods alone, you'll probably have the most complete stockpile in your group, and you'll never need to depend on anyone else in times of crisis. One of the most important things that you'll master is the lost skill of wild plants. Our forefathers and Native Americans didn't get sick often, but when they did, guess what? Their pharmacy was found in the great outdoors. They used thousands of plants for every ailment you can imagine, and with great success. Yet most people nowadays know fewer than 20 species, let alone use them. And so one of the most important things I'm going to teach you in the Lost Ways 2nd edition is how to use ordinary plants that are probably growing in your backyard right now and turn them into powerful remedies. First, you'll learn how to easily and safely identify using large color pictures the plants that you need. You'll discover plants that help you fight diabetes, heart problems, infections, and almost anything else you can think of. And I'll also show you what an old Cherokee Indian taught me about 3 plants his people used as natural painkillers that were so effective that their pain would miraculously subside in a matter of minutes. And because antibiotics are the first thing to disappear from the shelves in a crisis, I'll teach you how to take advantage of nature's most powerful antibiotics. They'll help you fight most bacterial infections without the nasty side effects of modern drugs. And when the pharmacies are ransacked and your own supply of life-saving antibiotics is exhausted, these plants could prove to be your lifeline. And how about the tree you probably walk by to work every day, never knowing it's a natural disinfectant that stops bleeding in a few seconds, just like an external tourniquet, but without strangling any veins? And I'll also reveal to you the lost method of building log houses that was used by the pioneers that settled in the West. Using this simple method, you can build your own log cabin where you can take shelter in a crisis or spend your vacations and enjoy the happiness that comes with a simple life. One of our readers, Kaylee, started building her cabin a few weeks ago using the method that you'll find in the Lost Ways 2nd edition. And she's almost finished building her own log cabin with only $500 spent so far. It's still a work in progress, but most of it is done. How will you feel in a crisis to be the only one who can keep the wind and rain off your family if you're ever forced to leave your home for good? You'll also discover how the pioneers from the Wild West hunted deer and how they tanned hides without chemicals and without spending a dime. You'll also find out how to butcher a deer and what parts are best for certain preservation methods. You'll learn how to wisely use every part of the deer just like our forefathers did, to make tallow, a cool knife handle, a bowstring, glue, or even a needle. And you won't have to wait for a collapse to come for this one. You'll use this lost skill whenever you or your friends go out hunting. I'll also unearth an ingenious method by some wise settlers to dig their wells in no time without much work and without spending a dollar. If you've ever been thirsty, you know the real value of a glass of fresh, cold water. We take it for granted now each day when we open the tap. But imagine one day in the near future that stops. How great will it feel when there's no running water to be able to use this lost method and build your own well with fresh water in your backyard? And this next skill was so common a century ago that every town and little village had a charcoal kiln. And if you have a friend named Collier, he probably had an ancestor who worked in one. Rediscover how to get the highest purity charcoal the old-fashioned way and how to turn it into activated charcoal. I'll show you how you can use the activated charcoal to build yourself a simple and reliable water filter that can clean 800 gallons of water. And when all the water is contaminated and all you can find are muddy creeks and pools with diseases running rampant, you'll keep your loved ones safe drinking crystal clear, healthy water. You'll discover how I made my own activated charcoal pills that I use whenever I have indigestion to lower my bad cholesterol levels and even to prevent gas. Now, fortunately, I've never had to use them in extreme situations, but activated charcoal pills are very useful in treating acute food and chemical poisoning too. Now, trust me when I say that your medicine cabinet is not complete without these powerful homemade pills. I don't know if you know this, but most gas masks have activated charcoal filters. Now, I know this might sound hard to make, but they're really extremely simple. I built my own gas mask in only 1 hour, and I tested it the same day. With only 1 pound of activated charcoal, you can build around 6 gas masks that you can add to your stockpiles. These are just a few of the many lost skills you'll find in the Lost Ways 2nd edition that you'll be able to use in a crisis or around your house to help save money or be self-sufficient just like your grandparents were. But this limited edition cannot be found in stores or anywhere else on the internet. This offer is available to a selected few, so after you watch this video, you won't be able to find it anywhere else. Don't miss out on this unique opportunity, and a week from now you'll be hastily unwrapping our old-fashioned package, and inside you'll discover your very own copy of The Lost Ways. And believe it or not, this isn't all. If you get The Lost Ways 2nd edition right now, you'll also receive 2 exclusive bonuses that'll be off the presses soon.